This video I'm going to get into doing formulas in Excel, and we're not going to focus too much on this. I just thought it would be nice to know a few things about formulas just in case in the future you're using Excel just for some very basic data analysis. So I'm going to talk about the average function, the median function, and the standard deviation function first. Again, these are just super basic things. So the average, let me start with this. So if you're writing a formula in Excel, first pick the cell that you'd like to write the formula in. And you're always going to start with an equal sign when you do a formula. So an equal sign is signaling to Excel that you're about to type a formula. You can do some straight up math formulas. So I could, for example, I could do 2 plus 2, and it will compute that just like a calculator. But usually when you're doing formulas in Excel, you're doing it because you're doing a formula involving certain cells in your data sheet. So what I'd like to do is there's a named formula called average, and you'll see it come up as an option when you start typing it in. And so after you type in average, you're going to use an open parenthesis, and then whatever values you include in the parentheses are the values you're asking Excel to calculate the average for. So I'm going to go ahead and calculate the average of this particular cell right here. This is, let's see what it's called. This is the movie budget. And so what I'm going to do is I need to select F2 to F1429. And so I could do this a couple ways. One is I could literally click the cells and then just drag the selection all the way down to say these are the cells that I want to select for my formula. If you have a lot of cells, a faster way would be to just directly type in the cell references that you'd like to use. So the colon here is saying go from this cell to this cell. So instead of dragging all the way down, I could just go ahead and type in the number of the last row here that I'd like to select. So in this case, it's 1429. So select the cells from F2 to F1429. Then I can close the parentheses and click the enter button, and it will calculate the average budget of this selection of movies. I could do the same thing with the median. So median would be capital MEDIAN, and then an open parenthesis, and I'm going to do the same cell selection as before. Press enter, and then finally the standard deviation. Again, start with an enters and then standard deviation. And you'll notice that there's a few that come up. Go ahead and select the standard deviation.s. There are certain situations where the one that you pick might have some very tiny differences that may or may not matter very much. So we'll just go ahead and go with this one. This is usually going to be the appropriate one to use. This is standard deviation of a sample of data. And again, I'm going to do the same cell reference. Pressing enter, and there we go. And let's say that I wanted to calculate the same summary statistics for all of these columns right here. Well, I don't actually have to type in the formula again for each cell. I can actually drag each of these cell references across, and you'll notice what happens. I'll just do it for one. What's going to happen is the cell reference is also going to shift to the right as well. So it's going to assume that if I want the same formula over here, I want to do it for the same selection of cells, one column to the right adjusted. And it will do that for each of these as well. So I can just go ahead and drag all of these all the way down, and that makes it nice. I have the mean, median, and standard deviation for all of my numerical variables. You'll also notice that all of these got the accounting format, but this one for whatever reason didn't. So I can always adjust that up here. I can either manually choose the format that I want. But you'll also notice this $ is kind of your quick click that turns those into monetary values as well. Let's say that I'd like to go ahead and make this a table. There's a couple things that you can do. I'm going to start by typing in what I calculate, the mean, the median, and the standard deviation. And this one doesn't quite fit, so I'm going to go back up and double click this column so that it fits there. I can go ahead and put borders around this as well to make it look like a neat table. So I'm going to start with the all borders option, which I don't think you can see on the video, but I'm going to choose all borders. And then I can even put a thick border, so you'll notice if you click on the borders again, there's an option that says thick outside borders. I always like those as well. And then lastly, I'm going to go ahead and put these values in bold. And then I think that looks nice. I'd also like to go ahead and take the column titles that I have at the top and put them in this table as well. So I'm going to go ahead, I'm going to add an extra row. So I'm just going to right click this row and then click the insert button and I get an extra row. And then I'm going to come all the way to the top and I'm going to copy and paste these column names. So I'm just going to use my Control C. If you're on a Mac, I think it's Command C. And then I'm going to do Control V, or if you're on a Mac, Command V. I'm going to put those down here. And then I'll do one more set of borders there as well. Now I have a nice table, and you can actually copy and paste this into a Word document, and it will automatically create a table for you with the formatting that you made, which I think is really cool. You can make tables manually in Microsoft Word, but sometimes it's just easier to make them on the Excel sheet that you're working in anyway. And so that will wrap up this video.